Welcome to National Service Training Program 2 with a topic entitled Community Project Planning and Conceptualization. What are the learning outcomes for this chapter? One is to describe and identify the different steps in developing a project plan. Two, explain the different phases of the project development cycle. Three, identify and distinguish steps to conceptualize a project proposal and identify basic information regarding the outline of a proposed activity. Project planning. Each and every one of us at some point plans and implements a project. Whether you are a student finishing a homework, an architect designing a plan, or whatever field or profession you might choose, it can be safely said that it is imperative for us to be familiar with the steps involved in planning and conceptualizing for a project. Not only this knowledge will be able to make our tasks easier, but shall also give direction in achieving our project's success. Projects can be easily demonstrated with the aid of a systematically prepared project plan. A plan is defined as an outline which consists of strategies and specific actions or steps to be undertaken in order to reach the goals. Developing a plan is said to be the first vital steps in ensuring a project's success. The project objectives that will be formulated will help you gauge how successful your project is. Given such, it is advised to compose a better set of objectives following the SMART criteria, which refers to specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bounded. Who develops a plan? Other than the group or section organizing the project, other key persons can also be requested to help prepare a project plan. These key persons may include the community members directly affected by the problem. It can be the youth, mothers, workers, etc. It can be also the influential persons from the community. It can be the community leaders, elected or not. Also, experts who have been working with the said community. These are the community organizers. What are the steps in developing a plan? A prerequisite in developing your plan is the awareness of your partner's community current condition. Through the aid of collated results of the community assessment conducted, it will be much easier for your class to identify possible projects for your partner community. The steps involved in developing a plan include 1. Establish your goal. 2. Identify strategies and activities to be taken. The initial step in developing a plan is to establish a common goal. Goals are the desired or expected outcome of an endeavor. Therefore, goals are ends or targets. This goal serves as the backbone to your plans. It provides your class the guide and direction that you need in determining the projects you intend to implement. Assuming that a common goal has already been established, it will now be the time for your class to determine the various action steps you shall undertake. In identifying your strategies, action steps, make sure to include persons involved, time frame, resources needed, and expected output. Projects may be differentiated according to its purpose, objectives, target beneficiaries, duration, and scope. However, all projects are subject to undergo a similar process. This process is referred to as the project development cycle. Phase 1. Project identification. During this phase in the project development cycle, the planners undergo the process of searching for potential projects directed to achieve their goals. Phase 2. Project preparation. Once a particular project has been agreed upon, the next step would be to involve the planners to determine how and when the project will be implemented. Phase 3. Project implementation. Finally, the plans are executed during this stage. The project is carried out by the assigned persons for the target beneficiaries during the set schedule. Phase 4. Project evaluation. Some after the project has been implemented, an evaluation is usually conducted to determine whether the project objectives has been realized and if so, to what extent. Let's now move on to project conceptualization. This involves 5 elements. What are those? 1. Establishment of project objectives. 2. Project pricing. 3. Preparing the project proposal. 4. Inventory of available resources. And lastly, identification of project constraints. First, let's talk about establishment of project objectives. Every project proposed has a history behind it. Why was it proposed by the students? What were their different bases for coming up with such? Is there really a need for this kind of endeavor? These are just some of the guide questions that the class may use to fill this part of the proposal. Project objective must be clarified and agreed upon before further action can be taken by any of the two contracting parties. Next, project pricing. Basically, two factors are involved in project pricing, namely time and cost. Each class is allocated with specific budget that they need to maximize for their chosen project. Next, preparing the project proposal. The project proposal is a document wherein the major elements and details of a project as well as the areas of agreement between two contracting parties are to be included. Important sections in this particular project proposal are A. Rationale that gives the background and surrounding events which have led to the conceptualization of the project. B. Project objectives that determine what the project is supposed to achieve. C. Methodology that outlines briefly the major steps to be taken in achieving project objectives. D. Project price and source of fund that give the community a general picture of how much the project will cost and the manner of funding. And lastly, the importance of the project to the community, to the local, or to the welfare of the nation in general. Next, inventory of available resources. It is assumed that each student play a vital role in the success of a project. It is imperative that before any planning can proceed, the inventory of resources, both manpower and equipment, which the mother organization can release for the project to be taken. The students may either be involved in the preparation of the project, during the project implementation, or the project's post-assessment. This provides planners with a basis for making decisions regarding acquisition of additional resources. Lastly, identification of project constraints. Constraints create invisible barriers to attaining project objectives. Plans could miscarry if such constraints are not considered in the initial stages of project management. During the initial phase of project planning, the students should be allocated with meetings for their project implementation. Given the said setup, the students are then faced with the challenges on properly adjusting their schedule. Proposed activities must be scrutinized according to its relevance and appropriateness to the project's objectives and beneficiaries.